to call this meeting of the West Allis West Milwaukee School District to order, please. If we could please rise for the pledge. Mr. Lee, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Suzette, could you roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Schultz.
Present.
Mr. Eustruck.
Here.
Mr. Bailey.
Present.
Mr. Keller.
Here.
Ms. Klug. Here. Mrs. Justa. Here. Mr. Sikich.
Present.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
President Emmons.
Here. Proper notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the open meeting laws of the state of Wisconsin. Do we have any additions or modifications to tonight's agenda?
I have no changes.
Board members? No? All right. We'll go on to item 6, our public comments. Do we have public comments scheduled for tonight? Nope. All right. We will go on to item 7, our superintendent's report.
Great, thank you. We'll start with 7.1. This is the report from West Allis Nathan Hale High School, our student representative.
Hi, my name's Nick Powers. I'm a senior at Nathan Hale. That's it. This month, we would like to highlight the following from Nathan Hale High School: Homecoming Week 2019, Safe and Supported AODA Program / Red Ribbon Week, Nathan Hale Gives Back, Blood Drive, ACT Practice Test, a Fall Sports Update, and some upcoming events. Homecoming Week was the first week of October. As a Hale tradition, we have activities all through the week to earn points toward winning the pep paddle for the most spirited class. The week of activities include Spirit Dress-Up Days, which include the Land Before Time, Dress Like a Paris Day, Jurassic Park Day, Wisconsin Sports Teams Day, Class Color, and a Husky Spirit Day. In addition, we had the girls' Powder Puff touch football game under the lights with the seniors crowned as the champs. We also had an all-school pep assembly on Friday, recognizing our fall sports teams and additional grade-level competitions, including our grade-level float competition and the guys' pom routine. This was all followed by the parade and then the big game versus Germantown. The fun-filled week culminated with the homecoming dance with over 700 students in attendance. As part of our continued efforts to help promote safe and healthy behaviors during the homecoming celebrations, the West Allis West Milwaukee School District and the West Allis West Milwaukee Community Coalition and the West Allis West Milwaukee Heroin/Opioid Task Force teamed up to make students and their families aware of the dangers of alcohol or drug use and to offer them support if needed. More specifically, on Thursday, September 19th, Nathan Hale had a program during the school day called Safe and Supported for all students, followed by a community-wide event for all parents of 6th through 12th graders district-wide. Students heard from a guest speaker, Jeremy Trublett, on the topic Resilient Families from Trauma to Triumph. In addition, parents were taken through a teen replica bedroom, revealing what parents can look for around student, drug, and alcohol use. Nathan Hale had 75 families take advantage of this evening learning opportunity. In addition to this, Red Ribbon Week was the second week of October, which focused on the destructive impact of drug and alcohol abuse. This year, due to the rise of vaping, Nathan Hale's Peers with a Purpose students dedicated the week to educating students about vaping, its health risks, and legal consequences. Advisory teachers shared an informational presentation and then had a discussion with their homeroom students regarding this growing trend. The Peers with Purpose group posted a message in the tennis court fence made out of red cups stating, "Too cool to jewel," to keep this reminder front and center. Nathan Hale's first blood drive this year was on September 25th from 1 to 8 p.m. in the Hale Gym. The event was organized through our HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America student group under the direction of advisor Daniel Menger and the Red Cross. We had awesome participation with approximately 100 students and staff donating, with each pint potentially saving up to 3 lives. The Nathan Hale School community impacted 300 future patients. In preparation for the official statewide ACT test being administered to all juniors this year in March, as part of the state accountability measures and school report card, Nathan Hale held its annual ACT practice test on Wednesday, October 9th in our main gymnasium for our 328 juniors. It was a great learning opportunity for all, and we are proud to share that 310 of our students were in attendance, taking advantage of this learning experience. That is 95% attendance for a practice test. This shows an overwhelming commitment by our students to doing well and being prepared for the March assessment. The test will now be corrected and distributed back to the individual students to be reviewed and discussed in their core classes to increase their readiness for the official test day. Research finds that 57% of students that take the ACT test a second time go up and score 1 to 2 points just by familiarizing themselves with the process and questions. In support of this, the first opportunity to all our juniors was provided through this practice test in a less intense environment to maximize their future results. In fall sports, congratulations to the boys cross country team as they qualified to compete at the state cross country meet this Saturday in Wisconsin Rapids by placing second in the sectional meet at Grand Park this past weekend. The boys showed exceptional selflessness, stepping up for each other behind 3 top 10 finishers: Josh Truchon, 1st overall, Liam Kelly, 3rd overall, and Colin Rashka, 10th overall. Also contributing were Cole Conkle, Matthew Keys, Joseph Hertel, and Alex White. This is the boys cross country team's 2nd consecutive team state appearance, and we wish them luck as they compete against the top 20 teams statewide. The girls cross country team placed 6th in the WIA sectional meet at Grand Park on Saturday. Leading the team was Abby Merrick. The team's 2nd runner was Andy Oman, who ran a 55-second personal best time. Also running on the varsity was Olivia Manriquez, Ella Galazeski, Kira Snogzetsky, team captain Ellie Rao, and Christina Leopis. Last Wednesday, the West Dallas Wave diving team completed their dual meet season, defeating St. Francis while breaking a record and a few personal bests. Ashlyn Hill Mariani placed first, scoring a personal best and setting a new wave team and school record for 6 dives, scoring 261 points. Courtney Neuendorf placed second with her personal best of 223 points, and Kendra Hasley was third with 155, her personal best. The team will now be competing in the Woodland Conference meet this Saturday morning at Greenfield High School. The Hale dance team had a very successful summer and fall season as they placed 2nd overall at the Badgerette Camp at Carroll University, qualifying them for competition at the Midwest Grand Championships in Schaumburg, Illinois, back in August. There they had outstanding performances, earning 1st in their kickline routine and 2nd in their competition routine, placing them 3rd overall in the large varsity division. Camp All-Stars included Maddie Curtis, Alyssa Window, and Kelly Rader. Congratulations to our dance team on another outstanding start to the year. Fall Music Concert. The Fall Combined Music Concert with the band, orchestra, and choir was held on October 16th in the Nathan Hale Auditorium. It was a collaborative department effort showcasing our students' musicianship. It was once again a huge success and well attended with over 500 people. Planning ahead, don't miss our 26th annual Nathan Hale Craft Fair this Saturday, November 2nd from 9 to 3 p.m. We once again have a sold-out fair with over 175 crafters to sell their fine items. There will be a bake sale along with breakfast and lunch items available, so come spend the day. There is a $3 entrance fee with all proceeds going to help fund PTSA initiatives and Friends of Music activities, scholarships, and much more. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to stay, of course, or, practice ACT tests or study or whatever else you've done tonight. But thank you again for the great report, very thorough.
Thanks.
Okay, we will go on to 7.2, the legislative update. At the state level, Governor Evers has signed Executive Order number 54 calling for a special session on legislation to address gun violence. Governor Evers signed Executive Order to call the legislature to meet in special session on November 7th, 2019, to address gun violence in the state of Wisconsin. In the Executive Order, Governor Evers requests the legislature act on 2 critical proposals that are supported by 80% of Wisconsinites. The proposals outlined include legislation to close the background check loophole by requiring universal background checks for all firearm purchases in the state of Wisconsin. And the second item is legislation to create an extreme risk protection order. Sometimes these are referred to in the media as red flag orders. It's a process that will give family members and law enforcement officials the tools they need to intervene when an individual is at risk of harming themselves or others. More specific to education, State Education Committee Executive Session on October 17th, 2019, recommended several bills for passage. AB 110, Assembly Bill 110, Dyslexia Guidebook. This bill requires the Department of Public Instruction to develop a guidebook for parents, guardians, teachers, and administrators regarding dyslexia and related conditions. To develop the guidebook, the State Superintendent of Public Instruction must establish an advisory committee whose membership shall be determined in consultation with the International Dyslexia Association Wisconsin branch, the IDA, and the Wisconsin State Reading Association. Representatives from IDA and WSRA also serve as co-chairpersons on the advisory committee. Senate Bill 138, Professional Development and Character Education. This bill authorizes the Department of Public Instruction to award grants to schools for teachers, pupil services professionals, and principals and school district administrators to participate in professional development trainings in character education. Under the bill, DPI is authorized to make these grants for 24 months. In Senate Bill 415, equalization aid. So under the current law, the Department of Public Instruction pays equalization aid to school districts for each school year in the following 4 installments. 15% in September, 25% in December, 25% in March, and 35% in June. The bill increases the percentage of equalization aid distributed in September by 2 points each year and decreases the percentage of equalization aid distributed in June by 2 points each year until 2023-24 school year, at which time the amount of equalization aid distributed in both September and June will be 25%. So the result is that equalization aid will be paid to school districts in 4 equal installments beginning in the 2023-24 school year. And then Senate Bill 408, pupil counting. This bill changes how a pupil enrolled in a 4-year-old kindergarten is counted by a school district for the purposes of state aid and revenue limits. Under current law, a pupil enrolled in a 4-year-old kindergarten program is counted as 0.5 or half of a pupil unless the program provides at least 87.5 additional hours of outreach activities, in which case the pupil is counted as a 0.6 pupil, and that's what we do currently. Under the bill, if the 4-year-old kindergarten program requires full-day attendance by pupils for 5 days a week, a pupil enrolled in the program is counted as a full pupil. And so we're looking forward to that one being supported and signed into law. 7.3 is district recognitions. So from Communication and Community Relations, School Bus Safety Week, the National Association for Pupil Transportation designated the week of October 21 to 25 as School Bus Safety Week. We are thankful to First Student Bus Company, our transportation coordinator, Aaron Norris, and school leaders for teaching our students to ride safely to and from school. National School Lunch Week. As part of the school lunch program, over 487,000 lunches are served to students each day in Wisconsin. The success of this effort is due to resourceful and creative local food service administrators, managers, and staff working in cooperation with school leaders, teachers, parents, and students. We're thankful for their work to keep students nourished so they can learn. Principals Month. State Superintendent Carolyn Stanford Taylor designated October as Principals Month. We are deeply grateful for our principals, their leadership, and continued contribution to our schools. At the elementary level, our principals are Greg Burton, Leslie Connors, Mike Elliott, Chris Gosh, Steve Harris, Ryan Johnson, Stacy Lang, Brianna Polk, Sarah St. Martin, Carrie Stolenwork, and Brianna Wilms. At the intermediate level, Tom Blair, Jason Fish, and Liz Kazar. And at the high school levels, Greg Gels, Matt Lesser, and Jeff Taylor. In our theater program, Director Scott Grimsheed works hard to support our theater program. He reports 2 things. Suzanne Campbell graciously donated $1,000 worth of costumes to our theater departments. They will be stored at West Allis Central's new costume storage area. And Candela Lighting donated a complete oleo curtain to its 2 pleated panels, 18 feet high and 26 feet wide. These are black drapes to replace the one at Nathan Hale High School. Knew this would have cost $4,000. The family of Carol Garrison, we are deeply grateful for $345 given in memoriam to the Education Foundation in honor of Carol Garrison. Mrs. Garrison served on the Board of Education and worked hard in support of our schools, our students, and our families. The the memorial will be used for teacher grants. And at Frank Lloyd Wright Intermediate School, we'd like to acknowledge teachers Ashley Maluka, Carrie Clark, Crystal Clem, and Maddie Meg for attending the personalized learning convening this month. They also brought students that shared their learning experiences at FLW. And the student presenters were Andy Weinstock, Ellie Benty, Ariana Dudley, Mackenzie Metz, Kiara Ward, Ariana Lopez, Mateo Hurtado, Isabella Barra-Rios, Tashavia Williams, Riley Emmons, Isabella Emmons, Caitlin Nolan, and Madeline Sams. And it's part of the work we've been doing this year is really putting students in front of the adults to tell the story of their learning experiences and what they're really looking for from their schools. So we're doing that with leadership meetings, and the team that was presenting at Personalized Learning did it with a bunch of our FLW students. And this is a national conference that was down at the Wisconsin Center. So it's kind of a big deal for our young people to be out front with that. For some quick updates and information items. First of all, related to the public comments at our 1014 meeting, on October the 14th, the board received public comment regarding a student and his inability to take AP Computer Science during the 1920 school year. In this case, enrollment in the course was too low to offer the course. However, before a decision is made not to offer a course, a number of considerations are made to see if it could still be feasible. So I thought I'd just kind of take the board and the public or the parents or student are listening, just kind of what gets considered. Right, so first, can the school schedule be arranged so the course would fit in the master schedule in a way that more students would likely be able to take it? So one of the challenges in building a master schedule, and schedulers call them one-off courses, meaning it only gets offered one time during the day. So an advanced AP course or an honors course often are one-off courses. So when you plug that in and it's opposite something else a kid really finds interesting, like if this kid is a musician and that's when orchestra is, and that's the only time, well, that kid is probably going to take orchestra and not the AP class, right? So that's the conflict, and where you put it sometimes can attract more kids. So that gets looked at. Can the schedule of a teacher be changed, or can a section be added to a teacher's schedule to make a course feasible? And then can the course be combined with another very similar course, and the teacher essentially teaches the two courses simultaneously, differentiating learning based on course requirements. Best example of that, it happens often in upper level world language sections. You may have 3 kids in Spanish 5 and 4 kids in Spanish 6, and we start to combine those into one course in order to be able to run the course. So in the case related to the public comments from a couple weeks ago, there were just not good options in reworking the school schedule that may have created more student opportunity or interest. There was not a reasonable way to rearrange the schedule of the teacher, and teachers have to have the proper training to teach an AP course, and at least not without placing a larger planning burden on the teacher. And in the end, there were 4 students signed up for AP Computer Science A, and 6 students signed up for AP Computer Science Principles. Those are the 2 AP Computer Science courses, for a total of 10 kids. And they're similar enough courses to be taught simultaneously, but we rarely run sections that are under 15 kids. So we still didn't, after all of that, there still were not enough kids to make it feasible to run the course. Now, that being said, we want to try to create classes that are important for our kids and important for kind of the potential horizons they want to meet. In this particular case, this is a 10th grade student, so there may be 2 additional opportunities to take these AP computer science courses, but if we're not able to run them again next year, the student is now in 11th grade and then again in 12th grade, the student would be able to access the early college credit program and be able to take a similar course. It wouldn't be an AP course, it would be the college course, and it would be for both high school credit and college credit. So there are other opportunities kind of in front of this student that will make access to this possible in the next year or 2. So that was a long update. So I also reported 2 weeks ago that I was going to be attending a conference, and I've attended this one before, partly because there's no registration fee for the conference, and they cover hotels. But it was a really good one this time around, some really interesting learning. One of the things that we're debating internally as we move further down the road of deeper learning and project-based learning, how do we document progress for students, especially around the deeper learning competencies that aren't measured by standardized tests or by typical course, end of course assessments, right? And so things like collaboration and problem solving and communication, right? So how do you start to measure and document those things? And there's a school district in Kentucky that worked directly with Google, and Google did it all free on the Google platform and Google Education, and they've developed a tool, they call it the district backpack. So every student now has an electronic or digital backpack, and even 4 and 5-year-olds are taught how to start to collect evidence and store it in their backpack. And what their students then do is at the end of 5th grade, 8th grade, and 12th grade, they have to defend their growth in the deeper learning competencies that aren't measured in the traditional way we measure things in school.
Dissertation.
Right, a little bit of a dissertation. And it's kind of fascinating. They're early in the work, but I think we're going to reach out and try to learn more about that because it's something we've been talking about internally. If you go to some of the exhibition nights and some of those things, how do students capture that? An example at Madison, they do student-led conferences now, and this year where parents aren't able to show up, they've got a plan where then a student is going to present and have it recorded. So iPad, present it to an iPad, record it, and then send it to mom and dad. But that's also a document about how I communicate effectively. That should be stored somewhere for that student, right? So that was some of the learning at that conference. And then Deidre and I are continuing to do our community building circles. Each school is going well. We're getting some good feedback. We're listening for themes. And we're going to use that information to develop a draft of a refresh of the strategic plan. And then we have, and have had for a number of years, a strategic plan leadership team that meets a couple times a year to look at our progress. We're going to reconvene that team, bring that refreshed draft to them for feedback revisions. Then we'll bring it to the board for a workshop. Get that document tightened up with your input. Then we'll go back to the leadership team to map out core strategies and then bring it back as a process for approval. So we get an updated strategic plan built during the next few months. And that concludes the updates and information items and the superintendent's report.
Great, thank you, lots of stuff going on. All right, we'll move on to item 8, the board president's report, taking a look at the board calendar. So tonight, October 28th, we have a regular Board of Education meeting, including action on the final budget and tax levy. On November 11th, starting at 6 p.m., we have a regular Board of Education meeting. On November 18th at 6 o'clock, we'll be doing a walkthrough with C.G. Schmidt at the Recreation Construction Site. And on November 25th at 6 p.m., we have a regular Board of Education meeting. Do any board members have any community events to update? Jeff?
Not really an event, but for anybody that might be watching that is a Central grad, Mr. Nicolazzi, who was a longtime administrator, assistant principal, teacher, and athletic director and football coach at Central, passed away. And if you're interested in his funeral, it's in yesterday's paper.
Thank you. And then just for the board members, I think everybody got an invitation for the West Dallas Community Foundation's Breakfast of Thanks and Giving. So if you are interested in going to that, there is a registration mechanism inside of the email. If you wanted to attend, that is Monday, November 25th. So, all right, we will move on then to our consent agenda. We've got 4 items on the consent agenda this evening. Item 9.1, the approval of minutes from the October 14th regular Board of Education meeting and the October 21st workshop. Item 9.2, the employment summary. Item 9.3, the supplementary contracts. And item 9.4, the financial summary. Does anyone need anything separated? If not, we would be looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, move on. So we've got 2 action items tonight. Item 10.1, the exception to board policy 422.1, admission of foreign exchange students. Mr. Rose.
So this is an interesting little snag in one of our policies, but also a really interesting opportunity for us to welcome 2 international students to Nathan Hale. And we're trying to get them settled in school because their first efforts didn't quite match up the way they maybe had anticipated. So Aaron will explain the detail of this, and then hopefully with your support, we can get the State Department settled down, that they know they're in school and they're in good hands.
Good evening, everyone. So I believe that you all have School Board Policy 422.1 in front of you. And if not, I can talk through that a little bit tonight. So the policy limits each high school to 3 foreign exchange students each school year. So I was contacted by the Green Heart Exchange Program, which is a foreign exchange program that places students internationally and then throughout the continental United States. The host family is a neighborhood resident of Nathan Hill High School and would like to host 2 students. So we naturally try to place the students in their neighborhood school, just like we would with any family. And when we contacted the school principal and those things happened through the enrollment center, and they unfortunately already had 2 students. So by placing both students at Hale, we would be making an exception to the rule, and so therefore we thought on a non-precedent basis to come to you to see what your recommendation would be in that regards.
Noah?
I just wondered,
Sure.
do we have any history with why 3 students was picked? Is there like extra effort required for having?
You know, my only thought, I did look into Jeff Borland, and I thought that maybe it was like a WIA thing, and we researched it, and there was nothing on the WIA website or DPI in reference to that,
Yeah.
so.
Well, it was originally drafted in 1979, so it's very possible that it's related to the time that it was written. So, Dan?
I would just suggest that we bring this topic up and let it go ahead. Let's change it. 1979, that's a long time.
Yeah.
All different things have happened since 1979.
Yeah.
So I think we need to make an exception.
So the recommendation from the district is to make the exception. So we'd be looking for a motion to accept.
I motion to make the exception.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions?
Just wanted to say thank you to this family for advocating for these kids. It's work that I do, and being a host is not something that everyone can do,
Right.
and those that do, they're wonderful people. Since I've had my position, I have met some of the most amazing people. It's good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we've been moved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you.
You're all set?
All right, we'll move on to the next action item. All right, the 2019-2020 final budget and tax levy adoption. Are you ready, Ms.
Moment you've all been
Windler?
waiting for. All right. So we will go through our 1920 final budget and tax levy. Some highlights, we'll talk big picture and how things compare in 1920 to 1819. I'm frozen. There we go. So you've seen this graphic before. We've talked through how we calculate our revenue limit authority, which is the total amount of money that we get from property taxes and from aid. So now we'll talk through that second half of the piece, so how we calculate from that our tax levy, and then how we calculate from the tax levy our mill rate. So we take our revenue limit authority minus any aids that we get, and that equals our total tax levy. And for the revenue limit authority and equalization aid and the other aids, we did find out our final values on October 15th.
Fog is in.
Okay.
So our final revenue limit authority in 1920 is $91,441,943, which is an increase of 0.76% from 1819. Our equalization aid is $52,622,413, which is up 1.2% from 1819. So again, we take our revenue limit authority, subtract our equalization aid, which equals our tax levy. So our total all funds tax levy is $41,834,530, which is very similar to last year. It's up 0.16%. And the board has requested that we separate out private school vouchers. So this is the percent of our total tax levy that private school vouchers make up, which is 6.7%. And again, the way that this works is our revenue limit is increased by the amount of our private school vouchers, which the state tells us that amount. So our revenue limit is increased by that, and then we pay that out in an equal expense, so it's entirely funded through taxpayers. And you can see the levy breakdown here. So our total all funds tax levy is $41,834,530. And general fund is Fund 10, debt service is Fund 38, and community services is Fund 80. And then the next piece, so we just calculated our total school-based tax levy, our all funds tax levy. We then we divide that by our equalized property value, multiply that by 1,000, and that gets our mill rate. So the second part of this calculation then is our equalized property value. So this year is approximately 4.5 billion with a B. Last year was about 4.3 billion, so we've increased 148 million approximately in equalized property value throughout our 4 municipalities that we have, which is a percent change of an increase of 3.3% from 18-19, which then helps us calculate our mill rate. So our mill rate for 19-20 is $9.24, which is down 30 cents from last year. So in 18-19, we had a $9.54 mill rate, so a 3.1% drop. And what this looks like for homeowners is probably most important for what everybody's looking forward to. So the $9.24 mill rate, you can see it broken out for a $100,000 home. So the school-based portion of the property tax payment for a $100,000 home is $924. For a $200,000 home is $1,848. And for a $300,000 home, that's $2,772, the school-based portion of the property tax payment. And that is the quick, high-level version of our 1920 budget and tax levy compared to 18-19. So are there any questions?
Time to start working on next year's.
I'm going to take a week off, and then I'll start working on it.
Questions, comments? No?
I know I asked this last minute. Do we have any idea how, for the vouchers, how to compare to last year? How much we levied for vouchers last year?
So these are rough numbers, but they went up about 750,000. So this year is about 2.8 million, and last year was 2.1-ish million.
Okay. And then I had a specific question regarding the decisions about the budgeting for an SRO at Lane. I know in an update, it was provided as right now we're looking at a part-time, right, which is basically what we have now. I know there's some official communications from the city regarding what they have suggested for us. Do we have any update on what the decision on that's going to be?
So, the way I understand it is that recommendations, the conversations we're having, recommendations would really impact next year, not this year, because what we really would like to accomplish is a permanent SRO at Lane that maybe helps cover other things in other schools as well. Because what happens now, it's really whoever picks up the shift, so we get different people in Lane, different officers, and sometimes officers kind of transition really well from working kind of, out on the beat to working in middle school hallways, and sometimes they don't. They're not necessarily trained in working with young adolescents. And so we think the better opportunity is to work with the city, work with our budget, and, allow them to go through the hiring process. We get a permanent person that really wants to do the work inside of the school, and then provide some additional kind of training on our side, similar to what a youth advisor does. So that they really learn how to de-escalate young people, they really learn how to give some feedback to teachers about what they see that works with some kids and doesn't work with other kids that are escalated. So that's really kind of the direction we're headed, but that'll be more worked into next year's budget than this year.
So just so I'm clear, so that's 2021 you're looking at for full-time. For the rest of this school year, we're looking at just keeping how we have right now?
That's right, and that's
Okay.
partly just because the city needs quite a bit of lead time to make that kind of adjustment with us.
I see.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Questions for Caitlin? Caitlin, are you ready to be done with us
I'm
for
ready.
this last year?
I'm
So
ready.
I'm sure everybody feels the same way, but thank you for the continuous updates. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for coming back again and again, answering questions, doing the research, coming back with a clear, concise way for everybody to understand it, see it, comparisons back and forth, and just for all the due diligence that you've done. So absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic.
definitely a breath of fresh air, and it's welcome. Finally, it's a good thing to see.
All right, we'll be looking for a motion then.
So moved.
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions?
Just one last thing. This will be posted on the website, as the
Yeah.
other ones have been in the past,
Yeah,
correct?
they,
Yes, we can certainly, I think I love the PowerPoint, so, because it's so clean and simple, I think we should post that. And Beth and I talked today, but a press release that we want to get out about the declining mill rate, but also where we are with our fund balance, right? To really kind of retell the story about where we are financially, and then, in a month from now, it'll be a good story about where we are academically.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any remaining questions or comments? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, on to the next
All right.
school budget year. Thank you. All right, there's nothing else on the agenda. We would look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Good work, everybody. Great job.